Okay, everyone. I think that we are set up. I'm just gonna go and get my chat screen set up here. I hope everyone had a very excellent day. Here in Chattanooga, it hit the mid 70s. It was beautiful, long day. This is my last thing that I'm going to be doing tonight. Keeping that consistency going for sure, for sure. All right, so we're all set up. I got you all live. In fact, I'm going to be deleting a couple of these pages here. My name is, whoops, I think I deleted a wrong page. Okay, my name is Dr. Samuel Lombardo, the CEO and Executive Director of SL Models and Talent Agency, LLC. I'm also one of the agents here. You can reach us at www.slmta-agency.com. You can also email us with any inquiries at slmtagency@gmail.com. Also, for clients that want to reach me directly for exclusive contracts, either in our local districts of New York, Michigan, Georgia, as well as Tennessee. You can reach me directly at Lombardo, that is spelled Lombardo, as in Sierra, and that would be Lombardo's at slmta-agency.com. If you are interested in wanting to become one of our clients, and then we would be able to present the roster and that to you for the models, our new face and or pro models that we do have on board with us thus far. We will be changing some information. So if you're looking for information from us, we will have an info@slmta-agency.com email very soon. Also, our Mid-Atlantic contact will be Christy M. And I will give you her email soon. She will be working alongside of me for a few moments just to kind of get some training there in regards to her being an agent for the agency and knowing what to communicate and how to communicate it. We are also we are looking for a couple more agents within the Grand Rapids or Midwest region. So if that is something that you are interested in, you have experience, and you are well trained in the industry, this is a job for you. Remember that this is a commission-based position in regards to booking and whatnot. And we both would have that experience of knowing how to communicate with clients and making sure that we have long-lasting clients. So if that is you, that you have that interest, www.slmta-agency.com. You can email us at or email me directly to Lombardo's with the S, okay, Lombardo, S is in Sierra, at slmta-agency.com. Okay, and for a future reference, tomorrow afternoon we are going to have a special hot topic. It's going to be called Pretty Face. Stay with us because that is a new event that we have partnered with. Well, it's hosted by Cameo Models International, and we have decided that we were going to participate, SL Models and Talent Agency LLC would be participating in the Pretty Face contest. I will share more information about that, but for tonight's video is going to be, we're going to stay on topic, and we are going to be speaking about consistency versus legit, which is better. Now, it is a pun of a question because they both mean the same thing in this type of business. They are both very important, but it is something that that is very well confused in the same fashion. And I want to let you know that this fits into the topic of the excuses that we were talking about last night, if you remember that. So here we are tonight. Also, we did surpass our first milestone. In fact, we passed it beyond it. I think we're going to be at 200 subscribers by tomorrow night. I can see it already. We're at 147, I think, right now. Keep those subscriptions going. Also hit the notification bell and smash that like button, because we want to be sure that the content that is being made is being presented and shared with other individuals who are interested in wanting to hear about industry trends, industry news, just broadcast news, for example, as well. So we have a lot of good things that are going to be happening here on this channel, and I've been explaining that for quite a while now, and we're starting to develop into that. Also, we are going to be working with an actual producer and creating some a very nice competition that I think is actually going to fit. I'm not understanding why my backdrop is fading like it is. So tonight's been a very interesting night where odd things are happening. But in any case, I'm gonna try not to move because it is creating some kind of havoc, and I don't know what it is exactly. And I'm thinking that it might end up being that I have to update some software or whatnot, because I actually created this platform, or not platform, but the background that you're seeing. But this is going to also be changing as well, because we're planning on doing some background music and a whole different backdrop for each segment of what we try to do. Like, for example, broadcasting news, so it will have an introduction like we're about to broadcast some news. So all kinds of things. But anyway, what I was going to say, so I got sidetracked, is that we are going to be developing a relationship with a couple producers, actual producers who want to actually help and improve this channel. And so part of the collaboration that we're going to be doing is working with producers to actually build the brand of the actual channel and our performances. And they also want to use platforms to actually develop voting technique, also to help develop content. So we will be developing very soon. Like I believe that what's going to happen is our spring fling extravaganza is going to also be a big piece of this. Our online virtual pageants and things are going to be they're going to also be an important part of this. And I want to mention a couple of things because it goes into what our topic is tonight. because there is some confusion about collaboration, how to collaborate, um, and what is a collaboration, and basically not understanding the meaning of it, but trying to make excuses about what it is. Now, I hadn't touched on this until tonight. Tonight is really going to be more about agencies and clients, more so than about the models and the artists. Okay. So it could be a little bit of a landfill depending on how you think about it. And this is supposed to really be more of a be careful how we look at ourselves, how we do business, you know, those types of things. That's what this talk show is more or less about tonight. So if you want to interact, do you have any questions that you want to ask me? If you're trying to figure out what I'm trying to say, if you like the content, definitely put a comment or something in the comment section. I'll be glad to answer you, or I will tell you hello because I can see who's all there. But if you're as tired as I am, which I am tired, this SLMTA at night is really going to be a perfect title. And then you can always come and watch it tomorrow. In fact, I don't even plan to be here long with that. So this is really just to kind of put a quick hour out there about what it is that is important for clients and agencies. Now, I'm going to be very honest. Now, I've told you about what it was last night. Now I'm going to actually tell you the same type of excuse, starting with the big major clause. And that is, who are you to tell me how to do what I'm doing in my company? It's always been that way. Okay, as funny as this may sound, we call this actually a professional closed excuse. What does that mean, a closed excuse? A closed excuse is something that happens where there is no actual feedback. For example, I'll explain to you what I mean by a closed excuse, and then I'm going to explain why it would be a professional closed excuse. A closed excuse is when, let's say I'm asking you, I'm going to throw in an example. I would like to start a competition okay, I would like to start a competition, a pageant with your agency, and it would be a great ordeal that you know that your agency could stick out. Okay, we'll just put it that way. I'm just throwing an example out there. And then the closed statement would be anything from, well, we don't work that way. No, no, my models would not be interested in that. I don't see how this will work for our model, or we don't mix model with any other type of competition, or do you see what I'm at now? Like, this is a type of actual excuses that an agency, okay, would actually use. I haven't went down to the clients yet, so just give me a few moments. We're going to split this show in half. But this is what an agency will use. So first of all, to use a closed statement and not actually know what you're talking about is probably just as embarrassing as if you were to get involved with something and then realize So what would you normally do instead of coming up with the excuse? You would normally have a conversation, right? Oh, well, tell us a little bit more about that. Well, this sounds interesting. Can you tell us more about it? But bottom line, underlining issue here, and this is usually what happens with agency. So I'm going to go straight forward with it. The bottom line is that there is a fear that the collaboration is really a conflict and therefore takes away their clients. That's what the real fear is. Okay. So what do you do about establishing the relationship so that the conflict of interest is not there? Do you just say, oh, no, we're not interested, and then just throw it out the window? Or would you do like, well, there was one agency that I've worked with, actually worked with, I was signed by them and everything else. And as soon as they found out that I actually started my own agency, they started figuring out how they were going to do certain things, to the point that for a minute there, I almost thought I was going to get in trouble if I actually opened a model agency in Chattanooga. Oh my God, I've got to stop. But then I started realizing, no, that's just putting the excuse on me. I'm not worried about that agency. I don't care what that agency's doing. I'm not doing what they're doing. Now, if I invite them, that's fine. But if they're going to keep telling me, oh, well, no, we're not interested. No, my model's not interested in that. We already do that. We don't have no money. We're not going to worry about that. These are actual excuses that agencies actually make. And so the reason for my talk show tonight relating to the psychic of running a business, you need to understand consistency versus being legit. Okay. Now, I'm not hinting on the fact that the agency wouldn't be legit just because they're not, like partnering or collaborating or joining in or whatever with our competitions. What I'm basically doing is I'm realizing what type of excuses are out there, and I'm actually now saying, I need to raise this into the attention because it is actually really an excuse. If you think about it and you go in a real, true underlining issue, even if it is mission related, okay? Let's say that your mission is that you're not interested in bikini. Let's say you don't want nothing to do with swimwear or bikinis, right? Your agency already says that. So you're going to shut down the whole entire competition over a bikini? Now, I just want you to think about what's going on here, folks, okay? I'm not trying to make a joke. I mean, this could turn into a joke, or it could turn into an all right war. It depends on like what people are thinking or how they're thinking. Again, this is more about business tonight because I figured, what the heck, we're not the only ones. It filters down everywhere. I've told you about the excuses as a model and talent yesterday. Today, I'm telling you that the excuses happen even face to face with agencies, and they do. I'm telling you they do. Why? Because I actually laid out excuses. No, I'm not talking about, I need to wait for a dollar bill to get that done. No. Now, if I see certain things happening where it doesn't make sense, like, for example, like how an agency is supposed to run, and if you're wanting other people to be involved with certain things, so you have to be prepared to make sure that there is room to be able to do that. And what happens, what happens if someone comes in late or whatever the case is during that process, those things, there's always going to be a backup plan, right? well, that's more of a business to business, like your everyday business. So what you have to be careful of is this very strong fear, because that's what the bottom is that um, most agencies usually they will say they're not interested in being involved with, and the excuse behind it is that they will not be involved with another agency's day-to-day business. But the reality is that you wouldn't have to, because the point of the competition or the point of the collaboration or whatever really has to do with questioning on the specific question. It has happened today as well, but like, what was it, 3 months ago, whatnot, where I was speaking with a client out of Texas, and it happened to be that I was talking with somebody. Let me figure out how I need to say this, because I want to be careful, because we do have that client relationship. But basically, in the nutshell, what had happened was I asked a question about a specific scenario that turned into what they thought was me trying to collaborate with a company that they already are collaborating with, or something like that. I'm trying to be very straightforward in how this is explained. Well, let's just put it straightforward. What it basically was is they were afraid that I was going to jump in and just take something because it was an opportunity. But here's the problem. I've told you this many, 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 many times ago, that every agency is going to have various amount of clients, and some of them you might end up having the same clients. So an agency, by law, actually, this is illegal business. You could not try to tell a client that they could not work with any other agency, nor could you try to finagle an agency not to go with some other client of which you are involved with. However, because of my not knowing how at that time, and me like being who I am, I decided to ignore that exact opportunity, even though that strongly in my heart, I knew that it was a very good opportunity. So now I know that, if they want to lose the relationship with me, then that's on the client. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ask if I could be able to run a campaign within that city or what have you, because there is nobody to say, oh, this cannot happen and this and that. Now, there has been conventions out there, not to mention a specific name, where they will always use this term territories, and all this stuff. They try to convince someone, oh, go find your own clients. Clients do not have the time for agencies to sit there and tell them what to do, because you have a fear of something else. What you need to do is figure out how you can meet. That's why it's called collaboration. You need to figure out how to collaborate instead of having excuses wrapping around trying to get somebody else to go the other way because of the original fear, because that's what it is. Okay. And unfortunately, that is the number one top priority excuse. is the only reason why agencies will come up with these, what I call closed excuses. They're the ones where it sounds like they are being legit, but at the same time, they also sound like, I hate to say it this way, but it sounds like nothing. It just sounds like a statement and then it's gone. That's what it basically is. And that's what a closed excuse is. It leaves you with no other way of communicating. Well, here's the thing. I know when it's an excuse, so I still try to explain what the thing is, despite the excuse. And then it's just up to them if they wanted to bring the topic up at another time. But that's what I do, because once the event actually does happen and they see the actual real results that are coming from it, then more people are going to be more into play with it. So that's why, and this is the other thing too, this is why you want to be careful about who you know, how you know them, how you're speaking with them, what your communication is with specific clients and agencies and all that, because you don't want to have this run of the mill of these types of closed end results. Okay. That would have been the other underlying issue, is were there actual reasons for them to even think that way before it even happened? You see what I'm getting at? Like, in other words, if you're going to tell someone, like, okay, use me as an example, SLMTA. You're telling me, oh, you're nothing but a crappy brand. You know, we'll just say it that way. You're nothing but a crappy brand. I don't think you're legit. But then as soon as they see that there's all this stuff happening, and then that same person comes and says, oh, I want your agency to represent me. I would say, wait a minute, but wasn't I in my thoughts, I wouldn't even look at the application. I would remember what had happened. Now, some would probably say, they would probably blame me for saying, well, look, now you're not moving on. You know, you need to back it off and give them a try or whatever. But the thing is if that is actually true about what I need to do, then I need to figure out what I need to do in regards to when I am working with a person. Okay. It'd be the same scenario where someone had blocked me out of their life and they don't want nothing to do with me, and all of a sudden, you know, because of the grapevine, you know, despite the fact of what they might have thought before. So I understand those things. So I couldn't develop into any kind of an excuse either. I would have to go with the flow of the application unless there was something there that was actually not legit or wasn't consistent. Okay, and then I would tell you about. Now, SL Models and Talent Agency, as I've mentioned, has a lot of divisions in it. There are divisions, there are regions, there are territories, but there's region, sub-region, territories, divisions, subdivisions, categories, and subcategories on a lot of things. And we try to make sure that each thing does its own for its own purpose. So that's why we end up where we have different types of agents, because we want the agents to really be the one to understand the divisions as itself. And then you have the varieties, you have the different stations or the genres within the industry. What is that? That would be somebody who is in the music but not modeling. Okay, you see what I'm getting at? So not only do you have the division of well, this is the new face division, this is the emerging division, this is the pro division, this is the superstar and celebrity division. But then you have all of this other stuff. And then somewhere's in between there, between pro and up, you will have non-exclusive and exclusive contract. So you may have an independent artist who wants 100% of their work, their ownership of their music, whereas another one would rather be represented by a record label. All these different things are like happening. But for me, I know how to simplify it. I know what I'm talking about, but when I have to put it into English, just sit here, it takes me hours on end to explain it. So, and then when a new face comes up, they don't know if they want to join SLMTA because they keep hearing about references and resumes and all this, but they don't know what a portfolio is. So what we're doing right now is I am focusing on one division, but I want that agent within that division to be the one to do what I'm doing right now so that I can focus on the other stuff, and then he or she will actually take care of that part. Really, the new face division has one job and one job only, if you really want me to put it very short and sweet. It is to prepare that artist and or model to be ready for performance. And at the end result, they will end up going to MAAI, and they will have even more plus some exposure. That is the rule of thumb, okay, about how that works. Is there investment? Yes. And I'm not going to sit here and talk about that tonight. That's a different topic. But the thing is that while you're trying to make the agency consistent, you want to make sure that there are different projects that are leading up to, right? Well, one thing, now I'm not saying how I do business is actually going to be the easy way for everybody else, but because I happen to be the one really running a lot of the show here, because, you know, we would hear from people that they got experience to actually be an agent, that they could train them or whatever, then they don't turn out to be exactly what we thinking that they were, or they are trying to dictate to us how they want to be paid when as well. Actually, the agents within the training agency gets paid by the commission on the actual sale of their training. So they could be a trainer, or they can go and they may have clients who can train them, whatever the case may be. But the reality is you have to know how to run the show so that you can be able to put the investment back in. Then you will know how you're going to get paid. That's how the new face division is ran. And that's the common sense reality of how you're going to do it. Now, some folks, they're used to selling a $5 pen. And then they say, I'm a professional person, I know how to sell anything. But when it comes to a $4,700 package, but you don't have any contacts to be, then the excuses start coming up. But do you have clients? Do you have clients? Well, if you don't have any clients, now I play stupid, because the first question that anyone that does not have experience will actually ask, and when I say that, I'm talking about somebody who's coming in actually thinking that they understand how an agency works, so they try to surprise me with their actions or their thoughts of, hey, so do you have any clients? And then I'll say, no, we're getting a few. That's a catch-22. Well, then how do you expect somebody to pay a package if there's no end game? I said, there's an end game. Huh? I said, there's an end game. See, the idea is that I'm basically saying, what does it matter, right? Let's say you go to Dunkin' Donuts. Now, you know you go to Dunkin' Donuts, you're expecting the donuts to be there, right? You know they're going to be there. Well, there is a catch-22, and here's the catch-22. Wouldn't it be stupid if you actually went to Dunkin' Donuts and there was no donuts? Okay. Well, what about the same ordeal? Let's say you want every single sweet donut that's in there and it costs you $130 and you only have 100, you're $30 short. Oh, well, you didn't have the donut that I wanted. Yeah, because you already bought the ones up to the $100. And because you were $30 short and you wanted the other ones, it's the only reason why you would make the excuse, oh, they didn't have the ones that I wanted. When you basically chose to get the one that you wanted, because otherwise, what I would have done is said, well, I guess I got to wait till I get the $30, right? But then that still didn't fulfill you. So now the question is, the difference between consistency and being legit. This is actually what I mean. Which one is better? Because you could turn around, too many donuts is too many. Okay, you don't need to be doing more training than you need to, but there's always training available and there's always going to be a next step. There are professionals out there where they've never done a stunt in their life. So then they decide, well, if I'm going to get more work, I should train to be a stunt man or a stunt woman, right? But they're not sitting there complaining about what the cost of the training is. They just want, and they would, it ain't even about the cost. They want to know if they can find somebody that will not kill them in the process of learning the stunts. I mean, seriously, folks, come on now. Now let's talk about the agencies. You say that you got the top 10 projected photographers in the whole entire world. Okay. So you say that. What's their names? Give me 5 references that I could just simply Google up and I could guarantee you if I'll see them, I'll see them. If I don't, I don't. I mean, it's one thing to talk up a game, okay, to pretend a scenario to make it a little bit bigger, but remember what I told you from the beginning on these talk shows, okay? People are going to catch your bluff, all right? If you don't have clients, fine. And if you do have clients, great, okay? The point of a training agency really doesn't matter about the clientele as much as it does the training. And if you're going to sell a training package and develop it into a series of events, then you might want to think about getting professionals involved. I had one 3 weeks ago give me the eye, okay? Because I mentioned, because they were like, well, why is it so expensive? Like $4,700. What? Why is it so expensive? I said, well, it's not even about the expensiveness. It's about everything that you will be knowing about. Now, for me to sit here and explain everything in detail, I do need to do that, though. I really do, because tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to be having the pretty face contest. So but that's easier to explain than our training packages. Why? because the training packages, I need you guys to understand who's going to be involved in it, what's going to be happening, your residencies versus virtual, everything. You need to know everything about how that program is, and it is a year-long program. Now, if you're lucky and you're able to go into, say, a 6-month program, it's still the same thing, but you're going to be crunching it. I'm serious. You're going to be like pushing, because audition readiness gets you prepared on the showcase. Performance readiness gets you prepared for the convention. Okay, that means that we know you are ready to perform, because that's where you're going to be booked for pro bono acts and different things. You know, you have to understand how the agency is going to be developing you in the industry. Okay, but the thing is everybody's thinking that the agency is supermodel, which we do, we are, but that they belong right in there. That no, you do not belong right in there. It is almost prompting us to have to say that maybe we might have to do the V-Smart and just have it all in V-Smart and then be a national agency by itself or something. Because V-Smart is the Vocational School of Models and Artists, and that is the system that has these programs in it. And it, as I mentioned to you before, if you're going to be doing other variables, like say you're going in to learn how to be a model, but you're also wanting to be an actor, okay? There is additional costs for that. There are different things, and the reason is because it's all boiled down to the performance readiness to get you prepared for. It's not an audition. At this point, you're competing. You are performing when you go to MAAI. You're actually standing on a stage with every single national, international agency that they have on the market. That literally, that's what you're doing. You're not sitting there. I mean, you could say it's like an audition, but you are performing. They don't want just mediocre per se in MAAI. No, that is up for us to get you out of mediocre and put you in ready for performance, because it is the national agencies out there, folks, that actually do the work. The reason that we actually have a branding, a full branding of the national agency as well, is because once you get to a certain level, you can either become exclusive or non-exclusive. We suggest that you be exclusive at first for the purpose of training, and that will determine on what your program is. Once you're done, your graduation is shortly after MAAI's convention. You actually become an SLMTA certified whatever, actor, musician, singer, whatever. I know it sounds funny how I'm saying it, but it is the truth. You actually become certified SLMTA, whatever. At that point, we actually reanalyze everything that you did, because we would then be speaking to the agencies as if we are your your mother agency. And most of the time, now we're not going to dictate how this goes for MAAI. It is usually our supermodels we dictate, because there are agencies overseas. That is our connection. but we're hoping that we actually can get SLMTA set up in Paris soon, so that we don't have to actually worry about that component either. But in short, SL Models and Talent Agency LLC is legit. It is developing its contacts within the industry. It is developing clients within the industry, but the focus on new models, on new talent, is not about really the booking as much as it is with the training component. It's getting you ready to actually perform, because some of you have already proven to me, and you got to be honest with me, there's a few people, okay, that are on my list who actually understand what I'm talking about right now. And then there's a few of you out there that are still kind of like, no, I'm pretty in my photos. I know I could be a supermodel. And then you're wondering why you're not a supermodel. Why? Because, I mean, you think that you're gonna be able to just go to Ford Models and be like, yeah, I'm gonna go work in Calvin Klein or Fendi, Gucci or whatever, and or you're gonna be on the Bazaar magazine or working for Ralph Lauren or whatever the case may be. I mean, this is like craziness. You need to start at the bottom and work your way up. So that is my main purpose for you guys tonight. Now, what is the legitimacy of an agency? Why it puts the two together? Consistency is a piece of what makes the agency legit. Consistency is a piece of what makes the model legit. Why? Because here's the part that every new face does not understand, okay, which is a truth, is that you cannot go and say that you love sweet donuts and think that the donuts are going to fall on your lap. Boy, you would be a whole lot worse than the donut man with his coffee on his lap. I'm serious. If this is you, you need to think twice. Now, I'm not saying that, in other words, to discourage anyone. I'm discouraging you from the excuses, because that's what they are. They're just really bad excuses, make no sense, just nothing doesn't seem right about it. So what excuse are you going to have? I'm going to tell you, this is how you draw the line with the excuses. Now, I told you how you do it with the model and the artist, right? You basically ask them the question. So like if they're the donut man sitting on the couch with the coffee cup on his lap, okay, talking about, I wish that I could have all those donuts. So then you could tell him, when was the last time you've been to a donut shop? Let him or her answer that question, even if it's not in front of you. That's the whole point. All right. Is to get them in a different way of thinking. But an agency, on the other hand, when you're saying, oh, that's not going to work for the agency, or no, my agency doesn't run that way. No, I can't mix that with what we're doing and none of that. What do you do to get an agency to understand? Okay. There are two things that have to happen: consistency and legitimacy. I basically put them there. Neither one of them are better than the other. That's why I did that. It's a pun. All right. In the question, when I say which is better. because none of them are any better than the other. What do I mean by consistency versus legitimacy? I'm going to tell you. It's just a matter of showing your action. If they don't want to be involved in it or whatever, especially if it's the one that says that this isn't going to work for our agency, then you know what you do is you show them what they have missed. Then it'd be up to them it would be up to that agency of whether or not what they're going to be providing. Now, if they try to mimic what you have or whatever and things like that, then that's a different story. If they're like, oh, this worked for them, I'm going to mimic that, then yeah, then I would probably say that have some risk management on your team as well, because you would need that. You need some kind of protection from somebody doing that to you, like stealing ideas or whatever the case may be. Now, if it's a person that, if it's an agency that says something like, I don't mix that with that, it's just a matter of them understanding what the event actually is and making sure that you, as the agency trying to get them involved, you can actually give them a taste of it without them actually being involved. What does that mean? Well, there's ways of doing that. Let's say, for example, me with motor pageant, okay? Let's say that you don't want nothing to do with a pageant, all right? We could tell you, we might do a few things. We could tell you, well, how about you invite your models, see what their experience would be. Now they may say, but my models would not be interested in that because it's not part of the vision. So then what you say is, so then what you do is you explain the vision of the motor pageant and why it is consistent with that mission or vision that they are providing. Okay, it takes a little bit more work than just saying a closed excuse with me, believe me. And it still don't end there. This is going to be the worst case scenario. You invest in them actually saying, okay, so you think this won't work for you? Well, guess what? You just got voted in. And then you would have to literally invest in them to actually go through the whole ceremony. There would be an appreciation to that, but at the same time, they would be like, oh, so this is what motor pageant is, and it's consistent, and this is what I'm seeing. Oh, wow, I didn't realize that this is what this is. So it may take you to get that far that have to do that. And some of them will either abuse a system to want you to go ahead and invest them in, but you know, it's one thing to do it one time. It's another thing that they're like, oh, well, see, here's my excuse for this year. See, I won't take the excuses at that point. I wouldn't take them even to this far, but because of the fact being that motor pageant just came up out of nowhere, you'd want to know what it was. Now, some of these award ceremonies that I would have and the submissions, and again, unless an agency's sitting there telling you, oh, when motor pageant shows up, make sure you do not sign up with that because that's what that goofy guy or whatever. If they're saying that, first of all, there is some legal status to that, okay? Because I wanted to make sure that before I say this part, that there is a term under legal that actually makes that type of thing illegal. In other words, an agency cannot tell their models that they're not interested in doing it. They could say it doesn't match with their agency for day-to-day business. So that if the model is interested in wanting to perform in the pageant, then that is a whole nother issue. Okay, because there's a lot of people out there that know about it. According to the analytics of Google search and all that, there's a lot of people that know about this pageant coming up. But there's different agencies that have different visions, and just because the word pageant got in there, it all of a sudden throws a red flag. So I had to make sure that first of all, at the very least, they understood the consistency of the mission. What is this pageant? Because we don't believe, and I've been saying this over and over again about SL models and talent agency, we do not accept the harassment. We do not accept the nonsense that comes in within the industry. We do not. And we're going to make it even more known. We're going to keep that consistent with American National Guild of Performing Arts, because we need, in fact, models actually need that union. Now, there will be a few, if they catch on to what I'm doing, that will try to mimic this, but the issue is, this is not just like a guild to sign up for a membership. This is actually a guild that saves people and provides the rights. In other words, it's kind of like SAG, but for models. And it includes even SAG and that in it. In other words, that there's components of it that allows that. The thing is that we know the red tape that goes around it completely. So we try to we try to analyze that red tape and then know where in the law that sits, and then brings it up for legislation. That's a whole nother process when you're talking about that. And we're getting there even. And when it comes to signatories, like there are different ways of agencies, conventions, and all of that joining in with the union. Why? Not because I'm trying to put everybody, now some people will say, oh, this is a conflict of interest. The only conflict of interest is that if you're afraid that something's going to show up that would be audited otherwise, there would be an issue. Because the first thing that would actually happen is that we would have to audit. There is no way that you would sign that you would not want to be, because there's going to be red flags and then there's going to be green flags. The green flags are those who become a signatory and understand what the guild is doing and is in support of making sure that there's healthier relationships in the day-to-day business with the models. Okay. And then there's going to be those who are still going to try to finagle, throw some red tape in there, trying to say, but, you know, our agency doesn't do it this way and this and that. And at the same time, it's going to cause a little bit of a conflict because most people are not going to want to go with an agency that's not accredited. All right. And that's even going to be even that much more conflicting. So it's not about, oh, we're reinventing the wheel. All the wheel is there. What's happening is I'm taking the spokes and making sure that they fit in the right holes so that the wheel turns correctly. Right now, we're kind of wobbling. Okay, the industry is literally wobbling. And the reason that I'm saying that is because there is bias. There's non-bias, but there's also bias in the clubs as well. We want to make sure that the women are well respected in the industry, We want to make sure there's no harassment at all. We want to make sure that, these are the things that are important to people in their career. So to even hear that somebody is actually wanting to do this is a blessing. Just to hear that they want something done about this. So I think that it would be kind of bad in the consistency that you're saying, look, we don't like certain things and this and that, but then at the same time, while you do approve of not having certain things happening in the industry, you cannot define how you're going to be able to stop it without having the right legislations. It's just not going to happen. You can think of it happening that way, and then maybe it will restrict yourself to just being local, because at that point you're like, okay, so at least now I'm able to see what the clients are doing. And even still, you wouldn't know what the clients were doing. I mean, there's so much. I could do a whole video, actually 4 videos on what ANPA could provide for the industry when it's totally done. And in fact, what we're doing is we're going to be using our innovation grant to actually get this started. So it's going to be something that is going to happen, because we think that it's very important. Hello there, Rodrigo. How are you? It is very, very important. But let me get back into the topic of what I'm trying to explain about the consistency versus legitimacy. There is no difference between the two. They both work hand in hand. You have to be sure that what you are doing in the agency is being consistent, and that consistency is going to show the legitimacy of the agency. Now, I've heard all kind of things, even things that sound so good and so perfect, to the point that after you actually investigate and actually look into it more further, you realize that the consistency was there. They were trying to legitimatize themselves through the consistency of their action, but in reality, there was no actual real match. Let me give you an example, because it happened to me at one point where I was trying to set something up with a brand. And the brand said, well, we have this radio talk host. We have this radio host. And they want to do this, this, and this. And they want to be able to take control of how everything is going to be and all that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. That leaves me out of the woodwork. I wouldn't have to worry about that. But then as I'm looking at it, see, and this is how I prepare very well. So I contact the host versus what the brand was telling me, just to find out that they were confused about what the brand was saying. Now, I don't go and ask the brand, oh, well, do you have a contract with blah, blah, blah? No, I don't actually do that. But first of all, it's none of my business if they did or not. But what I do know is that the radio host wasn't even sure about the brand itself. So it was like, oh, so that one was actually an easy catch, an easy audit. Okay. Because I would be able to be like, oh, okay, so WXYZ, like, do you know anything about La 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 brand? Well, they seem to know everything about you. And as a matter of fact, then I did ask the question because I like to twist the question because I need to know the reality behind what was happening. But the brand told me that you want to focus on like what you're doing, right? And I said, I know what I'm doing. I'm a national agency, so I'm going to be on all kind of radio hosts. I'm going to be in all kinds of newspapers. I'm going to be on all kind of news broadcasts. I'm going to be on YouTube. I'm going to be expressed everywhere. What do you mean? And then of course, I was being fair about how I was asking my question. So I basically just said, so would I be able to sign what, well, basically put it to you this way, in a nutshell, I don't know what happened with the brand, but it wasn't something I was interested in when they actually was lying to me about it. Because then when I turned around and said, well, would you like to have an exclusive contract? We have voiceover, and this and that. They were like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, I was just wondering because I thought I saw online, is what I said. I thought I saw online that you were hiring voiceovers at one point. They said, oh, no, you gotta get like with this, or that. So I said, oh, okay, I got you. So yeah, I mean, every local spot will have like their destination of different things. See, as a national agency, that's where I develop the contacts. I develop them in first of all, I focus on big cities in each of the states. And then I go straight to radio division, newspaper divisions, online resources, and then other platforms like film and production. Okay. And then from there, it just branches out. Like all of a sudden, there's advertising agencies that need employment, whatever the case may be. Casting directors, so on and so forth. But that's how I've been doing my improvement as a national agency. I was like, I'm not just going to sit here and just limit this because somebody is telling me, no, it shouldn't be like that, or it's going to be like that, or whatever. I'm like, there ain't nothing in the law that says that I cannot go and ask a newspaper to go and do a thing. It just didn't make no sense to me. You know what I mean? Now, do they have their own guidelines? Yes, they do have their own guidelines. You're going to hear an example come tomorrow when we do our afternoon SLMTA, because we have a great opportunity for SL models and talent agencies, new model. Yes, it actually don't even matter if you're a new model. From what I heard, it don't matter. What it matters is that you get your votes in. So I'm just gonna stop right there. I'm not leaking no more out till tomorrow because I'm tired tonight. But it's with a legitimate agency. She knows what she's doing. I love this woman to that. In fact, not only is she a comrade, but she is a well-respected individual for training agencies that should be respected by others as well. I don't say that as a demand, but as a suggestion that, sometimes we don't appreciate what the women are doing in the industry. And that goes for all of our union members and whatnot. I mean, we should share that respect alike for the woman in the industry. I think we're going to do a hot topic on that one night, just to focus on the woman of the industry. When I'm talking about consistency versus legitimacy, it's doing two things, okay? It is basically talking about new people who are either A, have no idea about an agency at all and how to run one, or it could be just the simplicity of a new face thinking that they understand how an agency is supposed to be, but they don't realize the different components within the agency. All right, if that makes sense. And tomorrow night, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be explaining to you the steps in how to develop an agency. But I honestly think, because see, here's the thing, we will all age every year, all right? Age isn't the issue. What's the issue is that when you think that everybody's got to be stuck in your way, in your position, and it's like nothing else has to work, or that you're not giving a chance to make any type of changes. Or it could even be that you got all of your eggs in one basket. What do I mean by that? I'll hint this on tomorrow night's topic. Basically, you know how the agency runs, but you're expecting to take all of the workload yourself to project an image of how your agency runs. For example, it's impossible for me to run every single thing. If I could I just counted how many pages that my website has. It's got 55 pages and there's plus some coming in. 55 pages, all right, to run an agency. I'm not putting Lines Publishing and Productions in there, which is a whole nother business. So I'm not putting the photography club in there, which is a whole nother business. So I'm not doing any of that. I'm basically just, it's SLMTA, SL Models and Talent Agency. The problem is, and this is the other issue too that I want to address on tomorrow night's topic, is this thing about conflicts of interest. So it's still a closed excuse. The only time it should be a conflict of interest or you losing confidence on somebody, well, we'll talk about the confidence in in another video actually. But the conflict of interest is actually the excuse of saying how they want to take control. It's an excuse that leads to control. Does that make sense? The underlying issue is if I cannot be the underlying party for this, then you have a conflict. That's basically what it's saying. But then you say, oh, well, I'm holier than thou, and that that everything is perfectly good and natural and blah blah blah. But then that same scenario is, well, there's a conflict. So in plain English, and I'm going to be very direct with this one, okay, but I'm going to be putting it further in tomorrow night's discussion. That closed statement of control is the conflict of interest, not the conflict of not having control. So if you're going to give a closed excuse of, oh, this is a conflict of interest, it's not how we run, it's because you're afraid that you will not have control in the situation. All right. And so how do how do you change that situation? Well, that's going to be tomorrow night's topic, because it's actually one that agencies do not know how to do. I'm going to be honest, even me, it took me a minute there to figure it out. Agencies don't know how to do this, and therefore it's just easier for them to be by themselves and say, no, you don't need to worry about anything like this, or this. It's my business, not yours. So that is true to a very long extent. It is true. But what a conflict of interest comes in at is, let's say that, because I'm not going to lie, I know various amounts. I'm not going to tell you what and in what cities or anything, but I know various newspaper, virtual platforms, radio hosts, television broadcasting stations, etc. I know various degrees of them in various different states. And the reason that I rather just say various is because a real conflict of interest would actually be if I'm running a competition where somebody else could be running a competition, you using a similar or even maybe the same platform, then it could get confused. So usually your conflict of interest is where there's confusion, not an excuse for control. You see the difference? So I'm just going to say this as an example. Broadcast, like say, and ABC, okay? ABC News is going to broadcast a motor pageant, right? And then let's say that La agency comes in and they're with ABC News and they got a competition. And then I go and, well, let's just say American Idol gets involved with that pack. So now we got everybody. Well, the minute that you start talking about even hinting on, oh, well, I was on the same, I'm on the same news station as blah, 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 just so that people can get your light, you're causing confusion. That's a conflict of interest. What you want to do is focus on what your competition is and what that news station or what that newspaper said for your competition. Okay, not worrying about what other agencies or what other companies might be having competitions with that same company, because you cannot stop clients from doing anything except that, unless it's something like sick, like there's harassment or something like that, and then the client knows about it. Like, look at how cancel culture is today. All right. So people will just cancel people out if you're saying something wrong. I mean, or there would be a debate. Everything's got to be debate, right? So what I'm saying is, you for tonight anyways, you got to throw away that fear. Get rid of it. Because you could be having 15 people that will be with that same client. It's not going to matter as long as there is still the representation coming within your agency. Now, there is another type of conflict of interest that I do want to throw in that I will explain more about tomorrow as well. And that is this situation. Let's say that there is a difference of ignorance versus the know-how. All right, let's say that I do have 35 of the same clients that All Stars Agency has, but then I didn't realize that what I was signing was a third party from All Stars, unless they actually had told me. But then they turn around and they are actually booking from me, not from All Stars. Well, it's because of something about, I don't know, I can't tell them why they were booking from me versus All Stars. Nor can I go and tell that client, well, you know, the booking should go to All Stars, not me. Nor can the All Stars go and tell the client, oh, well, you know, they're working for us, this blah, blah. It just causes more confusion than what you need. So really, don't develop conflicts of interest that have no interest whatsoever in your day-to-day business, because it doesn't make sense. That's basically the English behind what I'm just saying. Because you can literally develop your own conflict of interest, and then the clients would turn around and just be like, okay, so you're insecure. They would, that would be the first thing that they would probably say, is you're insecure. And while that is still a closed excuse, the reality is that you are. And therefore, you'd have to figure out how to become more secured about your position so that you're not losing clients. You see what I'm getting at? Versus worrying about if somebody's going to be taking a client away, because nobody, like I said, I can't say, oh, well, so-and-so, I cannot even speak negligence to about an agency that I don't know day-to-day business about. And then that, of course, that's where confidentiality goes in to effect, unless it actually breaks a law. If it breaks a law, confidentiality actually becomes null. Just so that you guys are aware of that. If someone is harassing you, if someone is breaking a known law and you know that it is something, now, if it's something that could be audited, I might throw the hint of the audit and just pretend like it never happened. Why? Because A, I don't want to bring the bad picture out in the open because it is confidential. And in case if it was something that was not what originally it was, it would have been an anonymous tip more so than, do you understand what I'm getting at? That's the difference between not actually breaking confidentiality. But if it's a known law that you're breaking, like harassment, workforce laws, whatever, you know, things like that, or like entertainment laws relating to the industry itself, you know, let's say I know of an agency that does not have a license to play background music where they're making money, even though that they think it's okay. You know, you still have to have a license for that. That's more of an anonymous tip for my confidentiality reason. It's relating to an agency that could just simply be audited and say, hey, look, okay, it is true. You didn't. In other words, I put the anonymous tip, but they're not going to tell me what the audit was because it's confidential. You might have had the license or you might have not had the license. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. That's the difference, and what you need to really be writing a confidentiality agreement on. Not stuff that, so here's the thing. Any business, not just agencies now that I'm talking about, when you're actually running any kind of a business, the focus is on the customer so that you do not have any kind of liability, okay? Any kind of liability. So that you would then be prepared. The confidentiality is basically your privacy acts, what you do with their information, that you will never sell their information, this and that and the other thing, right? I mean, unless you're with the entertainment industry, that lapses just a little bit, because you would be selling their, well, not selling, but you would be sharing personal information with clients, but you wouldn't be sharing IDs unless it's something where they need to know how old a person is if they're underage. Or like social security numbers, they shouldn't need, because they're already being paid. The clients are paying the agencies, you know. You'll know more about that tomorrow. I'm not afraid to tell you how an agency works, okay? I don't know why some agencies are like weird that way. They're like, oh, well, it's day-to-day business. You don't need a blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there like, well, there's people out there that are literally, legitimately trying to figure out how to start a business. Now, I will be honest. It will be a 30-minute show. It's going to be on a prime time period tomorrow afternoon. And it's going to go by fast. So I'm not going to be sitting there telling you like everything, but you're going to get the gist of how an agency is ran, so that you get the idea of what is actually happening within agencies. I am happy for each and every one of you. I did want to throw a little bit of financial news in there too. Now, this might make a little bit of a conflict, but that's fine, because I would be confusing you about that. But remember that one night that I had a video on stimulus? It has passed the House. There are certain dates of certain things. Now, tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to discuss the properties of an agency development. And what you want to do starting out, how to start from the bottom and up. And usually where you start from the bottom and up really is focused on training. So you're going to have to, as a training agency, so you're going to have to know how to sell and stop worrying about these individuals out there who claim that the agency is actually robbing you for money, because there is a difference between a training agency and an actual agency itself. Excuse me, because a training agency focuses on the training, of the new model and a new talent. Okay, the agency, a booking agency, actually does the other thing. I'm wondering if I should do this as a 1 hour show. I think I'm going to have to do it as a 1 hour show, because I need you guys to understand what the differences are. Because I even think, to be very honest, I even think that this is where the unions are messing up a little bit. Because, and even the BBB messing up just a little bit too, because of the fact being that they're used to the fact that everybody can just get into the union. Well, there are steps that you have to take before you can do that. And by the way, FYI, if you're worried about what it costs to get your training done to invest, wait until you have to pay dues for your union. Believe me, I know this because I do this every year myself. They do come due. You have an initiation fee. Now, if you're with SAG, I think it's like 35, 4,000, something like that. They have different ways of how you can pay it, but I'm just saying there's an investment. All right, to be able to join the unions, they do not come free. And then you got to figure out some of them, like Actors Equity, they put you to work in order to be in the union. So, there's qualification. So you either have to do the work of beating the qualifications, or you have to do the work in this case, either joining one of their sister agencies, which is not going to be any different because the easiest one would probably be AGMA, but you still have to be able to have AGMA contracts and proven references for Actors Equity to be able to do it. It's not just a matter of, oh yeah, you can go to AGMA, sit on it for a year and be like, yep, I'm in good standing. You know? So there are many different things that are going to be taking place here that we're going to talk about. I think we're going to talk about the differences within those, as well as we're going to discuss the development of what you want to do. If you have a desire, like your calling is to be more of an arts administrator, because not everybody is actually the model or that anyway. And as a matter of fact, the second half of my life is to train up other arts administrators. So yeah, do not be afraid. There's going to be all kinds of fluky stuff. Believe me, you'll talk with all kind of agencies that'll either want to try to take control of what their territories are. You might even get a few of them there trying to shake you up. Like they might even try to, believe me when I say this because it's happened one time, no, 2 times with me, where they were trying to use the law, okay, by trying to say certain situations. And I'm like, but what would be worse? Me asking a client if they want to be my client, or me, I'm not saying that anything bad about your agency. Heck, I don't even know anything about your agency. I know that your agency is this, or that. And now, yeah, maybe because of your conversation, I now know that that's a client of yours as well. But am I supposed to just be like, oh, okay, I'll leave that one. Let's go to the next one. Is that what I'm supposed to do? So, I don't leave things for an excuse because it doesn't make sense. But you don't want to have any confusing conflicts of interest. In other words, just because that agency is doing better than you does not mean that you can use terms such as, oh, this big client that represents models of, I don't know, Ford. We'll use that as an example. Oh, Ford's clients, all stars, big Houdin, yeah, let's go ahead and sign up with us today. You'll definitely get a booking, because why? Not only are you actually trying to guarantee bookings, but you're confusing yourself with another agency who's been there. So the only option you really have, which is why agencies do not tell anybody about who clients they are, it's confidential. Because I have not yet seen any client out there who would not work with other agencies other than just one agency. I hadn't yet seen it. And if it is out there, it's probably worth auditing. So that's the thing that you want to be careful on. All right. I'm going to give you another example. Okay. Conventions. Conventions is the biggest example. You're going to have agencies that bring models in, and you're going to have agencies. Well, that's part of what I do, because we want to grow our pro model just as much as we want to grow our low models, if that makes sense. I'm trying to rhyme here. Well, our training models are within one division, but our pro models in another. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and cause a conflict of interest and say, oh, yeah, all of SLMTA deserves a gold star. So, of course, I would not want to sit at a judge table for that matter. But for the matter of growing a pro division, my interest would be more about the actual pros of the convention. Now, even still, because of conflict of interest or confidentiality in that, it wouldn't even be me doing either or. Now, for me, because I'm more about the booking, not the training, I'll have an agent that works on the training. He or she will be the one actually bringing the new faces to convention during those times. I would be the one basically looking for the pros because of the eye and the knack that I have. It would be me, and then it would also be one of my other representatives within the agency. But I don't know if there's a limit or whatever, but I'm just telling you as an example right now of how that scenario works. And it's not even just this, it's the fact that you will see some of the same agencies being there. Okay, so you don't know how many casting directors will be working for half of the agencies that are there. And I wouldn't mind even taking a business card, unless it's against the law. If it's against the law, then there's a law there that I didn't know about. Okay, you got to understand this. There's a little bit of entertainment law that I do know, but I also have a team of 15 entertainment lawyers. So there's no way in heck that I'm not going to do anything that I shouldn't do. And I'm even knowing other entertainment lawyers, like not all. I probably know maybe 35 all the way across. Okay. Some of them are, friends from college growing up. Others could just be, just the random people. And I was like, oh, really? An entertainment lawyer, blah, blah, blah. And the conversation starts. And some of them are interested in sitting on the board, a risk management team. And some of them aren't, like their plate is already full. And some of them would just represent us. We have that too. There's some of the 35 that's not on the risk management team that says if you need representation, they wouldn't mind doing that. So to be very honest, it's the same way when it comes to audits, financial audits, that is. I know like 30 licensed IRS enrolled agents. You cannot get any closer than that, even when it comes to SBA, because the one guy that I actually know knows one number to call and can get an answer just like that. And I'm like, crap, I need that number, but it's confidential. They won't give it to me. But I know that I can get the answer that I need. Just got to make one phone call and then, I'll know it. I'll know the answer. So uh, so these are the type of people that you actually really need. It's one thing to have the clients and all that, yes. The clients come naturally when they're actually seeing the progress of the agency as a whole. Okay. But if they're seeing the same faces that they should be remembering, that could be a little bit of a twist too. What are we doing to be able to grow our roster? See, now the event that I want to bring to your attention that SLMTA has decided to participate in, we want to grow our roster with this because you never know, we might develop pros from this event. The goal is to make sure that I can bring this out in a way that there is no confusion whatsoever, and that it is just simply an opportunity for a model to showcase their pretty face, Esquire male, or something kids. I forget what it was for the kids. I gotta go into, but that's the thing. Okay. You wanna, we are inviting you. This is actually almost not the same quite, but it's almost like a job order. If I'm telling you, hey, look, here's a competition, take advantage of it, then do it. Why sit on it? Oh, I gotta wait until I get shorter. I'm too tall. Or I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Look, all these excuses are out the door. The best case scenario that you could do, and I'm even here to help you. That's the whole point of the agency. I am here to help you. I will throw your name out there and help you get the votes that you need. But the least that you can do is get the information that they're requesting. A body shot, a headshot, and a 150 word or less bio. I mean, come on, folks. And it is, and you get a chance at a $3,000 top prize for a $50 submission. Cannot beat it. I'm not going to spend a whole hour and a half describing this event. I may spend 30 minutes discussing about it, and then we'll go and fall into our next topic. Or I might actually just wait and do that other topic for our hot topic tomorrow night and make this be our big topic for prime time. I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'll try to see if I could start a little bit earlier so that I'm not going until midnight like I am tonight. But yeah, it's an awesome thing. Now, I want to let you guys know where we are at right now with subscribers, because we have really ramped up the subscriptions. Big, big, big. We are at 137 subscribers right now. That was the difference between 107 last night. Okay, so the subscriptions are coming in. The problem is the comments are not. Let me tell you where the comments need to be so that you understand where I'm getting at. The comments need to be on our short promotional video. It's a 17-second video. If you just say hello, that's it. It only takes a minute to say hello. Press the subscribe button. If you want to hit the notification bell, go ahead and hit the notification bell. And then boom, we got it covered. All right. This is the part that we need you to really focus on, because we would like to give away. As a matter of fact, we have enough subscribers to do it, but we don't have anybody that did what we asked. So what we want to do is we want to give away $100 bill to some individual who will be able to do that. So what we're going to do is I am going to plug in on my Facebook, okay, the 17-second promotional video of SLMTA. And I want you guys to go to the YouTube channel that the promotional video is on, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I want you to basically say hello. That's it. That's all I want you to do. I don't know what VIM.LOL is. If you're trying to spell hello, it is HELLO. Okay? HELLO. So that way then you can actually have a chance at doing it. And what we will do is we will Cash App or Venmo the $100 to the winner. But we need to know the actual winner. We need to know, and it's the only way that we're going to make that choice is by you messaging hello on our comment section. But it has to be on a promotional video, not on any live stream video. It's not on any other types of videos. On our promotional video, it specifically states it on there. Okay. And Facebook, I mean, come on, it doesn't take long. Okay, I'm going to put my page on there again. Click on the page, all right, and subscribe and hit the notification bell. At some point, we're not going to be on all 35 platforms unless, and the reason for that is because we're going to be having some big events coming up, and we're not going to accidentally go and have a big 5-star singer-songwriter singing live on our Zoom VIP package and accidentally having it showing on Facebook. So you need to subscribe if you want to actually see some of the big events and participate in our bingo nights or our game nights and things like that. The only way you're going to know that they are actually happening is by subscribing and hitting the notification bell. All right. So there are some things like you're going to see videos like this, but if you want to be entered in to win some cash or do some virtual competitions or whatever, then it is YouTube where you want to be. All right. So look for us, SL. S is in Sierra, L is in Lima. Models and Talent Agency, LLC. It is a gold round icon with a red ring around it. You cannot miss it. All right, subscribe there, subscribe and hit the notification bell. If you like some of the events that we're going to be providing, I'm going to almost guarantee you'll probably want to smash that like button. All right, and we are going to be having some events coming up very soon. I'm going to tell you about that. We're going to have a game night coming up. We got a game night coming up very, very shortly. It's going to be, I believe it's toward the, I think it's the second Saturday night in April. All right. We're also going to be having our competitions, and we're also going to be starting our spring fling. Competitions you're actually applying for, because it's all about your vision, your innovation, and your build of the art form. We're not looking for beauty pageants. In fact, SL Models and Talent Agency LLC does not represent beauty type pageant. So what we represent is the administration, the form, the innovation, it carries titles. I'm not gonna lie. It does do that, but it gives you a big chance for that. I think that there is a big, there were agencies have this fear that mommy and dad, I'm gonna tell you straight up, folks, okay? Mommy and daddy is not gonna dictate to me about who the queen is going to be. Now, if you have an issue with it, go see my lawyer, all right? I'm kidding, but I'm not, all right? I don't have time for mommy and daddy fighting over, oh, well, they should have been the queen, not him, not her. No, she's always beautiful. You know what? I don't care. Take you and your negativity and walk it out the door. Okay, that's how I'm gonna say it. So I'm not afraid. I'm not gonna sit there and have that. I don't have time for that. So if the title thing is based off of that, then that's nothing you got to worry about when it comes to SLMTA. We're not going to be having repeated gifts. No. In other words, we're not going to say, oh, well, what we'll have is a certification of everybody involved. They will get a certification that they have entered into and be recognized that they have been entered into the motor pageant. But I'm not going to go buying 14, 15, 16 different gifts and say, okay, well, you know, here you go to satisfy mommy and daddy. Here you go. I'm sorry that they didn't make it a #1, but they got a trophy anyway. Okay. No, I don't have time to entertain that. Your votes is going to tell you exactly who the winner is. Okay. And that's it. That's the point blank that I'm going to say about that. And I like it that way. And we are going to be advertising through all platforms, virtual newspapers, big newspapers, the news media. I've told you this already. All I've been doing, and that's why I hadn't really been as consistent with my schedule as I would like to be with YouTube. But I still try to focus on my 9 to 12 for our interactive show that we're doing now. But even that, tonight, I had a meeting that was at 9 o'clock that lasted until like nearly 10 or whatever. And I was like, oh, is this day gonna even end? So, I mean, it's crazy, but it is exactly what it is. So again, I would say, you know, if you got a pretty face, let's do this. Let's rock this thing. I'm telling you right now, let's rock this thing. Don't worry about it. The main thing is the exposure that it comes with. Hear it tomorrow live at afternoon, SLMTA, hot topic during our prime time. That's when we're going to actually talk about. We'll be on live at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. All right. Until then, if there is no other questions right now, then you can enter them in the comment section down below. And I do read all comments if you do have them. And then I will read them and answer them in tomorrow's recording. All right. Our live interactive did end a little bit earlier tonight because I am tired, even though that we had started at 10:20 p.m. I mean, it's been a long day for me. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's make this rock on. I'm going to get everything set up for tomorrow afternoon. Be live. You're going to hear everything about the Pretty Face contest. Yes, with Cameo Models International, who is hosting it. Pretty Face contest. It is definitely worth every minute, every vote, and every cent they put into it, which is literally a $50 submission fee. Come on. I mean, that's what it is. It's not even that expensive at all. I mean, your nose could blow into paper bigger than that. Let's go, folks. Let's make this happen. All right. No excuses. No excuses. All right. We're going to make this happen. And thank you for your time tonight. Again, don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel. Thank you. Have a blessed evening.